It's the Abba Podcast. Let's go.
Boom, and the next guest on the podcast, is he a guest or is he a regular? Michael Prettyboy Zerafa. Mike, welcome back, champ.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for having me back on, mate. It's a pleasure.
Mate, you're a legend, champ. Talk to us. No one can get your name out of their names again, but it's all for the good reasons now, Mike. Talk to us. How's it feel now?
Now the tables are turned, mate. No, it feels good. Look, there was a lot of, animosity. I've come over a lot of adversities and, a lot of downs. But, at the end of the tunnel, there's always light, they say. And I'm feeling good, man. Like I said, I've put in the hard yards and they say hard work pays off. And I'm starting to see that now. I'm reaping the rewards now. So I feel good, man. I'm in good spirits. The fucking energy's high. Everything's going good, man. I feel grouse.
Nah, legend, man. Talk to us your last fight, Isaac Hardman. There's a lot of beef going into it, a lot of words that said, talk to us. You come and you rose to the occasion and you showed there's levels in boxing. Talk to us about the preparation, the lead up to that, and how it all come together.
Yeah, look, there was a lot of bad blood between. A lot of people thought it was fake. Me and Isaac generally hated each other. If he lived in Melbourne, I reckon the fight would have started months prior. But I mean, look, we get in the ring as men. We fought, and it was my night that night. I knew that there was, levels to the sport. I called that, and I knew that he wasn't just on my level. And that's not saying he's not going to get there ever. But at the time we fought, he just wasn't at that level. And we watched a lot of his fights, and he did a lot of the same mistakes. And in camp, man, we train like absolute animals, man. We work 2-3 times a day. We're building on the strength, the boxing IQ. We're working everything. And, come fight night, I was just cool, calm, collected. I knew all the hard work was done and the rest was in God's hands, bro. I couldn't do anything more. All I had to do was go there and just be Michael Zerafa. And if it wasn't enough, then it wasn't meant to be. But I knew that, God was on my side and we're going to get the job done. And I did it in style, man.
100%. And for the people, just to put some context, right? Isaac Hardman ended up having beef with me. And in the boxing world, because I've covered you so much, Mike, especially at times when it wasn't popular to cover you, a lot of people even walking in the street, or I go to a Paul Nazari card and everyone just calls me Michael Zerafa. I'm like, listen. I'm like, bro.
That's the best.
It is, mate. I'm like, I'm a privilege. The guy's a champ. He's flew me over in Melbourne. I've covered his fights. I'll continue to cover him. I'm neutral. I'm not on anyone's books, right? And try telling that to Isaac. Isaac is like, mate, you're Michael Zerafa. I'm like, bro, the beef is super real because this fella's beefing with me. I'm like, mate, you got a fight scheduled with the fella. Worry about Mike.
Yeah, exactly. That's just his personality, man, and he wears his heart on his sleeves, and that's just how he is, and can't take that away from him. Everyone's different, but what do you do? That's just if someone you can't change them. You know what I mean? And like I said, you've done great things for the sport. Your podcast is growing, man. You've covered me, you've covered others. I've seen in other sports as well. So man, you're doing great things, man. Let the haters keep on hating. That's what I say. You know what I mean?
Legend, bro. You know what? I would never imagine, man. We're just hustling and the gigs are coming in left, right, and center, and we're being invited to things that I never imagined. And I'm only 1 year in, Mike. It's people like
that's exactly right, man. Exciting times to come, man. And how much you put in is what you're going to get out of it. And that's what I tell everybody, in anything in life. It doesn't have to be in a sport, but could be in a business, relationally, could be anything, man. As much as you put in is what you're going to get out of it, and it shows on your side, it shows on my side, and it shows on others that are doing great things in the world. So, I mean, just keep doing you, bro. And like I said, fucking, it's gonna pay off.
Nah, legend, man. And something I respect about yourself as well, and your actions speak louder than words. You had Uncle Choc at the fight. Even after the fight, there was nothing but respect between yourself and Hardman, and you wish him nothing but the best moving forward because you've been in his position. And you're not like I've never seen a successful person put another person down. And that's something that you exemplify in multiple aspects.
Well, I always say that. I say, successful people want to see other people be successful. The people that aren't so successful get salty when they are, So for me, I believe I'm doing great things. Whether you love or you hate me, I feel like you will, either respect me eventually or you'll tune in and watch me. So for me, like I said, I feel like I'm becoming successful and I want to see everyone do great things, man. And to have Uncle Choc there and everybody else, man, it was unbelievable. And Hardman, like I said, after the fight, I wished him nothing but the best. Him, his family, his wife to be at the time, which I think they're married now. So congratulations to both. And yeah, man, like I never wish bad upon somebody. I've been brought up to karma takes care of that. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to go wish bad upon. Their times will come. If they're a bad person, it will show eventually, and they'll get caught undone. I don't need to do anything. God does that. And
Legend. Yeah.
I just enjoy it.
100%, bro. Talk to us about the lead up. How was camp going into that? Because, like you said, there's a lot of back and forth on social media. Did that in any part inspire you to push more, or were you already on that track?
Nah, man. Like I play the best mental games, and I beat him at his own game. And I knew what he was trying to do, and I spoke to all his opponents when I crossed paths with them. I never reached out to them. It's just whenever I crossed paths, I'd be like, Hardman would try to call me, text me, FaceTime me. I said, he's doing the same shit to me, man. He goes, but they played into that game. Like I don't play into that, man. I just blocked him on everything. Didn't hear from him. Didn't have to do anything. Every time he tried to get in contact with me, tried to be heroic. I was just like, that's just his game that he was trying to play. I said to him, I said, mate, I'm sure you're a nice bloke outside the ring. He goes, I'm going to cave your head in and you're a flea bag and this and that. I said, all right, cool, man. I've tried to play the nice card, and you don't want to play the nice card. I'm not going to play the bad card because I'm not a bad person. So I'll just see you April 20. And I left it at that, man. And like I said, God was in my corner and we got the win, man, in style, second round, stoppage.
Man, talk to us about that. We're going to get to that. The day before in the Waynes, it got a bit heated. Now, not a lot of people have fought at the level that you fought at and the platform that you have. How do you take that emotions out fight night? Because it was cool, cold, killer Zerafa, and you put on a clinic because there's levels in boxing, like we said earlier.
Of course. Oh, man, look, I say to everybody, even when kids ask me for advice, I say, man, the best way I control my nerves is I just tell myself, it is what it is. You can't help the inevitable. Whatever's meant to be will be. And I go in there with the mindset of, like driving a car, man, I just worry about what I've got to do. If you get in the car now and have to worry about what everyone else is doing, you're mentally going to do yourself, you're going to cook yourself. So I just go in there and say, it is what it is. And just like driving, man, just focus on what I've got to do. I know what I can bring. I know where I'm going. I know what I've got to do. Just enjoy, man. Have fun. Memories. Make memories. Enjoy. Talk about it. Amongst your team and your close family and friends, man, and just enjoy it, man. Because not everybody can be doing this. You know what I mean? Like living their dream. I'm getting paid I don't work because to me this is not a job, man. This is my passion. You know what I mean? I don't get up to a 9 or 5. I work on Michael Zerafa's clock. And that's living. You know what I mean? And if you chase your passion, eventually it becomes rewarding and you start seeing the benefits of it. It might not be overnight. It's taken me 20 years to get here, but I wouldn't change it for the world, man. I'm loving life.
No, 100%, and you've earned it. And something that I remember in the last fight, the fight before Isaac, when I was backstage with you, you actually keep cool, calm, collected. It's another day in the office for you. And truly the event or the occasion doesn't get to you. Because I recall the fight late last year at the Pavilion. That fight had implications because the Isaac fight was already signed. So you went into
Correct.
that not needing to have that fight. A lot of pressure on the line. The whole show was based around you. If backstage, I couldn't see that. I saw it on Michael Zerafa giving time to the kids, the people, very jovious, loose, talking. You weren't amped up. You weren't in the corner. You weren't hiding or shying away from the occasion. And I took a lot from that because I see a lot of the local people that I'm involved with. Before a game, they're tense. You can't talk to them. I'm looking, I'm like, you're at the lowest level. Loosen up a bit because the people that have done that don't do what you're doing. You've wasted all your energy. Yeah. How are you going to perform? Just talk to us about that because a lot of people will perceive that tough macho mentality is the one that gets you to the top.
Yeah, man, like you said, when you start panicking and you start doing your own head in, you start tensing up, you start to use energy before you've even gotten into the fight. And I just do the little checklist, man. And that's how I stay calm. I say, I trained well, I ate well, I slept well. I had no shortcuts. I start ticking all these boxes and I say to myself, you know what? It is what it is, man. Like what is meant to be will be and what isn't will be, and if it's not today, it'll be tomorrow. And if it's not tomorrow, it'll be next week, and that's how I tell myself. And I just, like I said, I was in the back room, eating my lollies, dancing, having a laugh with you guys. And when it's time to go, I just flip the switch, man. I'm mentally strong. I really am, like I know how to come to, and when it's time to work, and when it's time to muck around, when it's time to switch on, we switch on. But I just try to save the energy. I don't overthink the situation. And the key is being present. If you think about, the past, you start getting depressed. If you think about the future, you get anxiety. I just be present, man. And then, my focus is what needs to be done, the task at hand, and have fun, man. enjoy it. Like it's great. You've seen Fight Night. It's a buzz. It's the fun part. The training's the shit part. All the hours of unseen work. The grind, they say. But for Fight Night, it's the glory. And I love it, man. I love it.
100%. A lot of people won't know this. You fought Isaac, a couple of weeks ago? We were looking about 2-3 weeks ago. You've just finished the training session. So we've just caught up to you live after a training session where a lot of fighters will take a couple of months off, go on vacation, go on holidays.
Never.
You're back on the grind, and that's things that people don't see. They just see the bright lights and all the fame and all the articles and what a life it is. But the sacrifices and loneliness, only you will attest, and people that are in the path. Crazy stuff.
Correct, man. And Andre Ward quoted, he said it's a world champion is not a fighter in the ring. It's how a fighter conducts himself out of a ring. And, that's maintenance. A fighter after they fight will go away, put on 10 kilos, enjoy life. And then when it comes to camp time, that's when injuries start because they're trying to do things they were doing in camp, 10, 15 kgs heavier. The body can't take that. That's a lot of pressure on the mind, a lot of pressure on the joints, and it gives way. Your body, you're not invincible. So for me, it's a lifestyle. I don't have to go hammer and tong, but every day I've got a routine, man. Every day I'll get up, I'll go to the gym. I'll never miss a session. I'll never miss a day. And, it shows. And when it comes to fight time, I don't have to kill myself, man. I can enjoy the finer things in life, the foods. I can have a bit of McDonald's. I can have a bit of chocolate. I can have this stuff because I'm always training. If I trained 3 hours this morning, I can go out tonight and eat, and then tomorrow train again. I'm maintaining my weight, you know what I mean? And these guys will have Maccas tonight. I fought last week. I'll have Maccas tomorrow. I'll have pizza. I'll have a bit of chocolate. And then I'll go out and have a bit of drink, alcohol. And then all of a sudden they're 10, 15 kgs up. And it's like, shit, now it's time to work. And then that's a lot of pressure on the mind. And once the mind goes, mate, forget it. The mind, once that gives up, there's no turning back, man.
Bro, it's crazy because I had Jock Campbell on the podcast. He's a sports scientist for the Australian cricket team. He was coaching Brett Lee when Brett Lee bowled the quickest ball ever. And something that was interesting with that experience is he told Brett, you got to watch your diet in the off season. There's no alcohol for a year. And you got to make sure that you're doing your due diligence even when we're not in training. 1 year later, he bowls that ball. Jock said it's by no chance that he bowled that ball. It was because of the dedication and sacrifice, like you said earlier, that led it to that one delivery.
100%, man. That's what it is. It's getting the rounds in the bank. For us, it's getting the rounds in the bank, getting the miles in the legs. When I'm sitting there banking it, like I'm banking it. And when it comes time to spend it, that's when you cash out. You know what I mean? And I've already started now. Like I'm not even in camp yet. And I'm already doing as if I was. I train harder out of camp. And one of my good friends, Alex Volkanovski, UFC world champion, dominating at the moment. And when I caught up with him, he said the same thing. He was like, I train harder out of camp than I do in camp. Because in camps where you're like wine, like a fine wine, you know what I mean? You're meant to be real classy and do everything right. Now outside camps when you're grinding, man. You grind now, man. You put it all in the bank, and when it comes time to spend it, fight night, you do. And in camp, that's 8 weeks or whatever, 10 weeks is where your game plans are set in place. Doing that one thing 1,000 times to make sure you get it right on fight night, and start and stop where trainers talking to you and do this and do that, and so we all train harder than I do, in camp.
Yeah, most definitely, and that's where your muscle memory comes in because you're putting in these things and because it's very personalized when, like you said, when you're in camp for one fighter, you're fighting one style, you've got your game plan. But when, I think Tyson says it best, every fighter's got a plan until he gets punched in the face. And when the going gets tough, you're looking at your 20 years, not your 8 weeks in that camp, because it's going to come out.
Correct.
So it's crazy in that, man. And you remember the last fight when I came out in Slovenia, I think when you were fighting in December, before Hardman, the guy that was the cameraman for the back end, he loves you. He was on his honeymoon, believe it or not. He left.
No way.
He still hears it to this day. The guy's still in the doghouse. He is the biggest Zerafa fan in history. He's going to kill me for saying that, but I just slipped it in.
Oh, champion, mate. If you're listening, man, I appreciate all the love and support, man. You're an absolute legend.
Nah, he is, man. He's a huge fan. But Mike, your name is now in everyone's name. IBF number 2. You've got the Brazilian Falcao. He was earlier. Now you've got the Mexicans who have sent in Jamie Munguia's team.
Munguia. Yeah.
So Munguia's team has sent you an offer today. Talk to us about the dynamics and the position you're in now Because it seems like everyone wants Zerafa because it's either you're a world title or you're an elimination title fight now.
Correct. Yeah, man. Look, we've got Triple G, who's a potential opponent. We got Falcao, we got Munguia. Look, all tough fights. All credit to all the boys. But I mean, yeah, I'm the man. I'm the man at the moment. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just a good position, man. Like I said, I leave it to my team. If it was up to me, I'll be on the first flight out of here. But I mean, it's a team decision. So the fact that we've got options, I'm just grateful. And yeah, man, I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting now to get back into a team meeting and find out what's obviously the best moving forward financially. Title wise, what's going to benefit us the best.
Most definitely. And I think a nice context for the viewers would be, what is the politics behind it? Because you've got the rankings, you're number 5 on BoxRec, you're number 2 in the IBF now. You should be for the next title shot. That's what the win against Isaac got you. Now, all these others that want your name, they're now called money fights because you're now putting a lot on the line. Like, what is it from your position now for the viewers to understand?
Correct. Well, look, man, I'm in the driver's seat, which very rarely in the sport you get because it's the fight game, man. It's the hurt business. So, I'm grateful I'm in this position. But, yeah, now, like I said, I'm, highly world ranked now. And the guys that are behind me, which are big names, you've got like Murata that's behind me, Munguia is behind, all these big names are behind me. So, they look at me as an easier option, I guess. But, they get a little bit salty because they're like, who's this Zerafa guy that's, knocking everyone out now? They're on top of us. So, again, now it's, I'll kick back, sit down with the team and see which one's going to financially benefit us the most. And, we take that offer.
Most definitely. And to put into context, Triple G is the current champ at the moment in the IBF. He went up against Ryoto Murata, if I'm not mistaken.
Murata, yeah.
The Japanese fella. He's ranked number 9. So he's leaps and bounds below Mike, and that was the last title fight. So Mike's in a real position to challenge for the title, or if someone's going to show this cash, it's a money fight for him, and then he takes that, and his next fight is guaranteed for the title afterwards. Now, what's interesting that I'm finding is a lot of them want to come to Australia. What's your position on this? Are they coming to your home ground, or are you willing to go there?
Look, and if they're willing to come here, I might fuck 100%. I'll fight for another world title. Like Georgie Kambosos is doing. Is unreal. But over there, boxing's another world. They're fighting at Madison Square Garden. O2 Arena. They're doing big things over there. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'll fight them in my backyard if I had to. If it's going to get the same results, it doesn't matter. Whether it's here, there, or anywhere, if it's going to be the same payday and the same, title fight, it doesn't matter to me.
What's interesting? I learned this from Rob Whittaker because Rob, when he first started, he won the Ultimate Fighter. He went to TriStar in Canada. He was training under Faraz Sahabi, and George St. Pierre was at the time. He was staying in one of the dorms there. From that experience, he learned that there's absolutely no difference from him because he made his own team here or him training somewhere else, because at the end of the day, the body of work is a body of work. And for him, he'd rather fight in Australia rather than the States because he sees that as a venue like any other venue. But in boxing, is it different when you hear MSG, when you hear the O2, when you hear all these different stadiums? Or is it the same as fighting at Marvel or fighting somewhere else for you personally?
I mean, look, I've fought in big arenas now. I've been all around the world and I've fought, Cal Brooks, 25,000 people, Peter Quillen, same, and Jeff Horn. Like I've been everywhere, man. The Russian, that was a crazy venue, on Alexander Povetkin's undercard semi-main event. But, it's a big jump if you're fighting locally at, your town halls and stuff like that to then go straight there, So my very first jump from that was like, whoa, this is completely different. But now that I've done it so many times, it's the same. Mentally I know how to just control it all, absorb it, weather the storm. So for me, like I said, it doesn't really matter.
Bro, how was that fighting in Moscow? I mean, the crowd there, everyone says it's totally different. Enemy siege mentality. Like, how was that, bro?
Crazy, man. It's a very boring country. I mean, you wouldn't go there for a holiday. Very rough, very scary. But yeah, man, the hostility there was crazy. I was fighting their world champion, and I truly believe I got robbed in that fight. But credit to him and the team. But man, it was just an unreal venue. Alexander versus Takam undercard. That was huge, man. In front of, I reckon there would have been about 30,000 people there. It was just next level.
Bro, and what do you take out of those fights? Because you had that fight, then the Kell Brook, they're the only 2 blemishes that are there. The Jeff Horn one is so much controversy, I'm not even going to look over that one. Yeah. Kell Brook one, and Kell Brook, for the people, just to put some context into how good Kell Brook is. Amir Khan, multiple time world champion, legend of the sport, didn't go 6 rounds. And the beef between the two was real and as real as possible. Michael Zerafa goes into enemy territory and takes it to him, and could have got him out of there as well on another night.
Yeah, man. So we heard him a few times, we heard him a few times. We fought him 12 rounds, and I just started real slow. I got in the ring and I was like, shit, this Kell Brooks. I was a huge fan, and he's beaten Sean Porter, the IBF World Champion. He's fought Golovkin, he fought Spence, he's fought everybody, So for me, getting in the ring, I was like, whoa, I'm here now, and Michael Buffer, my ring announcer, and I'm like, this is nuts, this is surreal. And I started late around the 6th, 7th round. I started saying, you know what, I'm in this fight. But if I had that mentality in round 1, round 2, man, it would have been a big difference. And I reckon I could have stopped him, But full credit to Kell. He's an absolute champion. He's got nothing left to prove in the sport. He's proved it all. He's done it all. And it was an absolute honor to share a ring with him. He's an absolute fucking legend.
What did you learn out of that? Because I'll tell you something that I can relate in a small sense. I was with Gus Gould a couple of weeks ago at the stadium, and I was doing a segment with him that's coming out in a couple of weeks. Bro, I was starstruck. I couldn't talk. Like Gus, for me, in the rugby league world, I've always looked up to him as the GOAT for me, and told him after, I'm like, I'm never speechless. Like, you probably think I'm a flop, Gus, but I'm like, I don't do this usually. So I can feel that. What did you learn after that? Because after that, now I'm like, everyone's human. I don't care anymore. I'm never making that mistake again.
I learned, mate, keep your hands up. But look, I learned just to, not have respect. Respect is after a fight, not before. I had too much respect going into that fight. I cared about his accomplishments too much and what he's brought to the sport and what he's done and his achievements. So I really took that like, he's human at the end of the day, where I want to be and where he's at is, that's my destiny. So you can't give him, inches. You just got to be ruthless, get in there and do what you got to do. After the fight, man, buy each other a beer, kiss each other, do what you got to do. But, before a fight, don't have any respect. And that's where I went wrong. And I took that a lot. Everyone I fight, there's no respect. There's no love. They say there's no love in the glove. And after the fight we can be mates.
Hey, legend, I love that saying, no love in the glove. First time I hear it. As a
no love in the glove, brother.
You did that and you took those lessons to Anthony Mundine one, because Anthony was obviously an icon of Australian boxing, someone you looked up to. You made sure that you implemented what you just learned from Kell Brook into Anthony, and it showed in abundance.
100%. And man, Anthony Mundine, like, he's the absolute, in my eyes, the best Aussie boxer to ever lace up gloves, man. He's dominated 2 sports, he won world titles, he defended world titles, he gave back. He's just an absolute champion. But yeah, like I said, Mundine is just, for me, an absolute superstar legend.
And how good of a guy he is, because something with Chalk, a lot of people see his demeanor on camera. He's the total opposite off camera. With myself and yourself, he was at your last fight. Whenever I need something, he's more than happy to invite me somewhere, message me somewhere, or plug me out in ways he shouldn't. And he does things that someone of his status usually doesn't do, eh? Like, do you share that?
Correct, man. 100%. That's what it shows. He come back and he was at Crown. He come to my hotel room and before the fight, and just give me his time, his effort. Talking about stories as a kid, this and that, and his experiences as a fighter, and just give him back what he's been through. So for me, passed on the rock of gratitude. That was for me the granite. That was huge. So I've got a lot of love for Mundine, and anybody that talks bad about him, has something bad to say, I'm the first person to get his back, because to do the things he's done and be where he's been, man, he's an absolute superstar.
No, he is legend indeed. And mate, yourself, not to take anything from yourself, you've been all over Australian TV, Australian boxing. How was SAS? I'm a big reality TV guy. Your mate Ant, you and Ant are on the same level now. What's going on?
Yeah, look, man, he's an absolute superstar. And I actually said to him off camera, I said, mate, I can't last a week in your world, but you wouldn't last 3 minutes in mine. But, we had a good laugh. But, I mean, look, it was just the injury, man. The actual show itself was completely different. It was tough. I'm not going to say it wasn't. I mean, I wasn't in there long enough. I was only in there for 3 days. But just my injury, man, I dislocated my shoulder and, my disc bulged and fucking hit the nerves. And I was literally paralyzed for like, my whole left side just wasn't working. I was like, it took me 4 or 5 months to rebuild it again, rehab. And it was nasty, man. But like I said, it was a great experience. And, there's talks that they might be getting me back on. So we'll just keep that in the loop.
So if they come to you and tell you I might come back on new season, you'd go back?
If it didn't clash with my career, 100%.
Bro, you're dead set crazy, man. I once went camping, literally. They put me in a tent. I walked into this tent like a doper thinking that the ground will be even. I'm lying down. I'm like, nah, bro, what's going on? Like the crunch and the crickle. I couldn't
Yeah,
last.
man, it was tough.
I was whinging. I was the biggest diva. I wasn't helping anyone do anything. And I'm not built for this stuff. And your beds looked horrible.
Yeah, look, it wasn't, for me, it was being wet. I hate having like wet socks, wet boots, like just wet clothes. We only had one change of clothes. It was different, man. I'm a city boy, man. I love like the showers, my toilets, I love the warmth, heaters. So it was completely different out of my comfort zone, but I loved it, man. It was a good experience. And the people on the show were absolute, gentlemen and superstars, and the females were grouse. Everyone was just good, man. Great bunch of people.
Hey, legends, you build that camaraderie, I'd assume, in such an environment. Wet socks, well, I wouldn't wish that on anyone, bro.
So bad.
And what do they do when you're not recording? Are they working you? Is there other things that don't make the TV?
Well, look, it's just cameras roll. So they were always recording, man. And then basically they take it away. And like, so I was only in there for 2 episodes, but I was there for 3 days. So, I mean, look, there was, a lot of things they cropped and edited and stuff like that, and things that were said that weren't shown. So, I mean, the cameras are rolling 24/7. They've got drones all around the joint and stuff. So,
how's the food, man? Is the food what they show? Surely they feed you something after.
Nah, man, it was pretty shocking, man. You get like a couple of teaspoons of soup and a dinner roll. That's pretty much it, man.
Bro, that's crazy. You know who the GOAT is of reality TV? It's got to be Freddie Flintoff. He's the cricket guy from England.
He came to England, yeah.
Yeah, he came to do I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. He told them that he smokes, but he doesn't really smoke. So what he'd do was he'd go with where they let him out of camp for a couple of days to have a ciggy break. He'd go and he'd fill up his water from where the staff are working, and he'd tax food from them, and then he'd come back to camp. He ends up winning the show. And then he was doing an interview after. He's like, mate,
no way.
Yeah, he didn't go through the tough times.
No way. What a ledge. Oh, I'm trying to get on that too. So there's talks that I might be getting on that one as well.
Right, that's my favorite show. That's my favorite one out of all of them, Mick, man. You're an absolute champion.
So stay tuned, mate. I might be coming to your lounge rooms.
Mate, Mike Zerafa, you must see TV. Get him on your screens in any way, shape or form. You're training. When are you looking to get into camp? When are you looking into fighting? What's going on?
Man, look, I'm living to my team. It's looking like September, October. But I'm just enjoying now, man. Just training, keeping fit, keeping the body ticking over, and just keeping it real, man. Keeping it gangster.
Hey, legend, man. And you are indeed. You're going to go out see Georgie? I think Georgie is next month?
Yeah. I'll be at the fight. I'll be there. They got me down there. So maybe we can get you down there as well, man. I'll make a few calls and see what I can do, bro.
Hey, legend, Mike Zerafa. Listen, you heard it here first. You've seen it. The guy is as genuine. He's the people's champ, the man of the people. Mike Zerafa. Final comments for the people listening, tuning in. Get behind him.
Oh, mate, I love you all. Thank you so much for the love and support. If you hate me, keep on hating. But like I said, man, smiles all around, and God bless you all.
The man, the myth, the legend, Michael Zerafa.